Thank you, Ripple, for having me. My name's Andrew Kaskaniotis, and I'm the founder of NFT Master. I think the best place to start off is with a story of how our marketplace started. How did it all come to be? Prior to NFT Master, I was working as a project manager for a membership platform that worked with some of Australia's biggest sporting clubs. And whilst working with these platforms, whilst talking to them, what I realized is that the biggest part of is their fans. And as I started to discover NFTs and I was going down the rabbit hole of NFTs, I saw a synergy between both communities. And I realized that NFTs could not only be used to solve some of their ticketing issues, but also revitalize their fans. Ultimately, we didn't go down this road. But what I realized was that we didn't go down this road, but whether people want to be part of a community, whether that's physical or digital, they want to have a stake in it and they want to have a say in it. We were fortunate enough to receive a grant from Ripple, and this has funded our mission to build application layer infrastructure and tools to solve use cases for NFTs on the XRPL. Which brings us to NFT Master. NFT Master is an XLS20 marketplace currently operating on the DevNet, open for the public to use. And at the moment, there are a few marketplaces out there. Some focused on games, others on digitals, but where we see our marketplace is with entertainment. And we'll get into exactly which type of entertainment later on. We also appeal to a wide range of creators. Some are artists without much technical knowledge, where we help them create metadata and pin all the assets. Others are developers, where we have APIs for bulk minting. Now, with any marketplace, you have three core functionalities: minting, buying, and selling. And we've been working hard to push the ball forward with some exciting features for NFTs on the XRPL. So the first is minting. XRP could be the best blockchain for high-frequency, low-fees NFTs. But we need to ensure that it's as easy as possible for creators to get on board. That includes being able to mint easily. And so we sat down and we really looked at the user journey. And what we found was that the greatest points of friction is the integration between systems. So each system here is represented in an orange box. And the user the artist might start their journey by creating the layers for the NFT. They then take those layers to an image generator to generate the images. And this is where the first point of friction comes in. The metadata is created, but it might not be in the XLS 24D standard or an NFT standard. So then what the user or artist has to do is select each attribute one by one to put in the new standard, or get a software engineer to write a script to automatically do that. Once they've done that, then they'll have to pin the files to IPFS, and then they're able to sign the transactions. And this is the user flow with NFT Master. So the user could either come with their layers, where they set certain parameters. So for example, global variables, like the rarity of certain layers, collection, taxon, and description. And we get all that information, create the NFTs based on their requirements, and then we pin all those files to IPFS, and then they're able to mint it on the ledger, and we'll get into exactly how they're going to be able to sign these bulk mint transactions. The second is that if they've already gone to an image generator and they've already generated the image with a metadata standard that's maybe not XLS 24D, which is the standard proposed by the community, where they could just import that into NFT Master, it automatically creates the correct metadata standard, pins all the files to IPFS, and then it's ready to be signed on the ledger. And the second part is signing the transactions. So with bulk minting, there's two types of ways to sign the transactions. So essentially, we pin all that information, and we have the URIs, the collection taxon, and we have an API that's able to serve that. Now, we have NFT Master as an open source minting application as well, where they're able to put in the batch ID, it will automatically fetch the batch, and then essentially mint each one by one. And that means you don't need to sign each one with the Sun wallet. Alternatively, if you have an engineer on your team, you're able to create a custom script where you essentially fetch the batch, which has all the NFTs that are already pinned to IPFS, and they're able to loop through each one and sign them one by one. And so we're also conscious of the ledger's health. So we're restricting access for the bulk mint. But what we're also going to implement is a multi-batch synchronous minting system. So essentially, if there's two batches, we're going to split one batch and the second batch into smaller batches. And so then we mint them synchronously against other batches. So we're not spamming the ledger at once with a ton of transactions. And so we have, apart from the bulk minting, we have one-off minting through NFTMASTER site using the SAM wallet, where people could upload different file types like images, videos, audio, and a bunch more soon, like 3D objects. And we have also developed location-based NFTs, which help for discoverability, where essentially you're able to put in the longitude and latitude in the NFT metadata, pin that to a map, and able to serve that and be able to, it enhances discoverability as well. This is a 3D NFT, and so that's a 3D object there, and you're able to actually move it and manipulate it. The next is a different angle, so this is an NFT of, for example, a house, and so you're actually able to move that in the browser. The second core functionality is selling NFTs. Now, with selling NFTs, we have, with partnered projects, we have an IOU to XLS20 exchange. And essentially, some of the things that projects will need to watch out for with IOUs to XLS20 is that a lot of the time, depending on how it's been created, sometimes you could actually see which NFT you're going to get before you actually do the exchange. So we've actually removed that. So as soon as they pay for the IOU or pay the IOU, then they get the offer for the NFT. We also have conditional sell offers. So only a buyer can purchase it based on certain parameters, and this can be on or off chain. So for example, the buyer might need to hold a specific amount of tokens, or they could only purchase, they have to purchase NFT 1 and 2 before they could purchase NFT 3. And this functionality has actually allowed us to do real auctions. So the buyer could, or the seller could set a minimum price, and it gets executed based on the time. And we also have a simple sell process, which essentially you're able to fill in all the fields, and these are all the fields from the ledger. So we take full capacity of the ledger. So any flags or fields that you see on the ledger, you're able to use them within NFTMASTER. And the third core functionality is buying NFTs. Now, if we look at the purchasing process of NFTs, we want to ensure that users have all the required information to make correct purchasing decisions. So we'll have information like price history and volume. But to keep users up to date with specific NFTs that they're looking at, we'll also have text message and email notification based on NFTs. So as soon as you have a NFT in your watch list and someone puts an offer, whether that be a buy offer or a sell offer, you can get a text message notification or email notification. We also have, for collection drops, a calendar. And this will also have an open API where people could fetch all the collection drops or the dates for the collection, and they could share those with the rest of the community. Now, shifting away from NFTMASTER for just a moment, we have an exciting announcement we want to reveal today regarding a new platform we are building for video creators. But before we get into that, with innovation to move forward, we sometimes need to look back. And if we look at the history for payments for software, there's been 3 main phases and a new one on the horizon with XRPL. The first is phase 1, which was essentially a person went to a physical store, purchased a CD, and they loaded that CD into the computer for a specific software. Now, as people got more comfortable with payments over the internet, what we saw was that people were putting their credit card details, but this was also still for one-off payments. So for example, Adobe Photoshop, you were purchasing it for $300, it was a one-time fee. But what it had was that it had a really high financial barrier for the users. They had to spend a lot of money for a software that they weren't 100% sure if it was going to fit their needs. Which then brings us to the current stage, which is monthly subscriptions. Now, monthly subscriptions have seemed to solve these issues in silo on the company side. However, it's introduced a new problem for users. They are forced to subscribe to multiple SaaS products, which they either don't use enough or don't get the full value out of. And this has created a value imbalance. This is generally because there's 2 types of users. One's an extreme user who uses the software a lot, maybe it's for work, and then there's another user, more a casual user. They might not use the product here or there. But the problem or the odd thing is that both of these users pay the exact same amount for the service, even though one's extracting a lot more value out of it than the other. And this is exactly what we're trying to solve. And we've already seen it with some video streaming sites such as Netflix. Netflix is introducing a lower tier where essentially people are paying a lower price, but they also have ads in their product. And this is because the users are noticing a value inefficiency. And that's exactly what we're going to solve. And today I'm excited to announce VideoMaster. VideoMaster is a self-published streaming platform for high-quality videos. By solving the issues around the value transfer, we're ultimately solving issues on the creator side and the viewer side. And what we'll see in phase 4 is NFTs and crypto microtransactions will either replace or accompany monthly subscriptions. And this is the value transfer between the creator and the viewer. We'll never have ads, users only pay for what they use, and with XRPL payment channels, users can be charged lower than a cent on a per minute basis. And this really can't be done with traditional payment systems, mainly because if you're trying to send 1 cent to someone, there's often a 15-cent transaction fee, and so it can't be 15 cents when you're only trying to send 1 cent. And so this is really why it has to be done with crypto. And if we look at the current problems with self-publishing sites, a lot of it has to do with the value transfer. And this can be fixed with microtransactions. And the first is payment. Creators get paid monthly, and platforms like YouTube take 45% of ad revenue, which is the exact inefficiency that we're solving. The second is income. Creators cannot control how much they make. They could only specify whether they want ads or more ads in the platform. So their income really isn't in their control. The third is people don't want to subscribe to another monthly subscription that they aren't getting the full value out of. So the solution with VideoMaster is that creators get paid instantly. Creators can set how much they are paid for their content on a per minute basis, and users only pay for what they're using. And so we think the sweet spot's right in the middle between published content, such as content on Netflix and YouTube. And what we see is that on YouTube, it's self-published content. There's a lot of high-quality content, but there's also a lot of low-quality content. But with the high-quality content, what we've seen is that a lot of the revenue that's generated isn't actually generated from the content. It's generated from other revenue sources like merchandise or a Patreon. So that's the real problem that we're solving here. And at the beginning, I mentioned that we'll be the marketplace for entertainment, and it would be video entertainment. People will be able to purchase the content creator's NFT and use it as a pass to watch exclusive videos, have voting rights on new content, and do many other cool features. So that's NFT Master and VideoMaster. Thank you for listening. I think we have a couple minutes left, so if anyone has some questions. Yep. It'll be available in a couple months. What we want to do is first we really ultimately want to have it on a sidechain, a federated sidechain. But I think first it'll be implemented maybe on the mainnet, so we'll first work on that and then port it over to a federated sidechain. So yeah.
So how do you have more creators?
Beg your pardon?
How do you have more creators for the VideoMaster?
So what we see is that video creators in general will use multiple platforms. So they might use YouTube, but they also might have a Patreon attached to it. And so what we're able to do is I think that people will shift hopefully towards the platform because they're going to see that they're able to extract a lot more value out of their users, and their users don't have to pay monthly subscriptions, and they're only really paying for what they're using. So I think that it'll go in that direction. But in regards to getting content, we're going to take a similar approach to what Amazon sort of started. Amazon now is the place for everything, but when it first started, it was purely books, and then it's moved from category to category. So I think the best approach would be is to start with one category, whether that be stand-up comedy or podcast, and then after that move from category to a different category. And so that means we're not really spreading ourselves too thin, and we have depth with our content. So I think that's the best approach for that. Anyone else? Cool. All right, thank you guys.